What's good, everybody? It's Batman, and we're going to be continuing part 2 of Noodles reacting to swagkage's jiraiya versus the akatsuki. So this is us reacting to the video all together, though. Basically on swagkage's take, Seth the programmer, and aka Noodles and his buddy Sub whatever. I'm not even going to pronounce the fucking name. So we're going to be getting back into it. We're going to be finishing off. Now, I want to make a quick clarification real quick. So I had a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean like a lot of butthurt crybabies that came into my comments on the previous video, and they were not happy when I said Jiraiya could beat Sasori or Konan or Datara, and especially Kakazu. So I'm going to make a clarification real quick, something that I'm going to state right now. Now, and if you guys want me to do my own video of Jiraiya versus the Akatsuki, even though I'm going to be doing a Minato versus the Akatsuki, but if you guys for some reason want me to do that as well, I don't have a problem doing that. I'll do all my homework and do a little extensive research and make sure to know every single thing just to kind of get a recap and refresh my memory. Even though just going off from my memory, I'm pretty decently well known of what they all can basically do, especially Jiraiya. But just for shits and giggles, I'll do it, whatever, and I'll do the video. If you guys really want me to do that, I'll do it. But regardless of that, I'm just going to state what I believe as of now, without even mentioning this video period, of whether what Swag or Seth or what Noodles thinks. I'm going to tell you right now, if Jiraiya was fighting against Kakazu, he's going to whoop his ass. I don't even see Kakazu remotely having any chance whatsoever to beat him. Jiraiya has summonings, he has hacks abilities, he has transportation dimensional abilities, okay, ninjutsu attacks, fucking sage mode, like Manpa, all these fucking things that could be able to give him the W against Kakazu. I just don't see it happening. If you actually analyze both characters, and look at Kakazu and look at Jiraiya, Jiraiya fucking would beat him. He would destroy him. You guys got to remember, even with narrative implications, if Kakazu lost to Naruto, okay, that doesn't have Sage Mode, okay, trained for 3 fucking days straight, fatigued, tired, and everything, and beat him with 3 freaking Shadow Clones, you're telling me Jiraiya can't be able to pull the same feats? Or better yet, in Sage Mode, be able to whoop his ass? Come on now. Like, that's just stupid. Like, what are we on about right now? You know what I mean? Like, Sage Mode is a big fucking deal. There's plenty of statements that it states that it's on a whole other level or ballpark. You know what I mean? Like, it's in its own class of its own. It enhances your taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu, sensory precognition, you name it. Like, Kakazu is getting fucking washed up, okay? There's so many scaling feats and everything, you name it, to put Kakazu in a level that Jiraiya can surpass. It's stupid, okay? Kakazu loses to Jiraiya. Like, it's not fucking rocket science. You don't even have to actually really go in depth with that. It's very freaking obvious and simple. Then you have Datara and Sasori. Now, in my opinion, okay, I wouldn't most definitely say Jiraiya wins 10 out of 10 fucking times like I'm saying with Kakazu. Could Datara pull off a W? Maybe. Could Sasori pull off a W? Maybe. You gotta remember, they're 2 very powerful ninja as well. Sasori with his poison hacks is ridiculous. One little scratch, Jiraiya's done for, okay? So if he even gets remotely 1 hit on the guy, and it's the real version of Jiraiya, he's fucking dead. So Jiraiya's going to have to resort to using Shadow Clones, substitutions, summonings, all his hacks abilities, you name it, to allow him to be able to do what he needs to do. And at the end of the day, as much as I love Sasori and Datara, if Jiraiya hits Sage Mode, they ain't winning that fight. I'm telling you that right now. So if Datara and Sasori aren't able to either land their poison or really powerful explosion, or better yet, Datara's hacks explosion ability that literally incinerates you from like cellular, like explosion, molecular level, whatever, like, yeah. If that don't happen and Jiraiya beats him to the punch and gives himself enough time to do whatever he needs to do to get the W, they're losing. And not only that, if you even look at the narrative implications of what Kishimoto has fucking shown, Kishimoto has shown Orochimaru fighting against Sasori and Deidara at the same time, and Orochimaru was dealing with both of them. And then he retreats and leaves, and that's it. Then we even see Sasori fighting against Konan, and Konan beat him. So, if you have Jiraiya, who is also a legendary Sannin, and has fucking Sage Mode, for God's sake, something that Orochimaru doesn't have, remind you, okay? Orochimaru's next level form was just the white eight-headed serpent, alright? You're telling me Jiraiya couldn't be able to implicate the same feats, or be able, to react and put up a fight, and etc., and win the battle? It's just stupid. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why everyone's like acting like Jiraiya just gets speed blitzed, or Jiraiya just gets utterly fucking destroyed, or now that Jiraiya doesn't even have any feats in scaling or anything whatsoever. Like, for any of the people that actually think Jiraiya doesn't have scaling and feats, you clearly need to rewatch Naruto. Plenty of very powerful Haksujutsus, summonings, okay, and Sage Mode. Watch the fight with Pain. Look at everything else from even Naruto from part 1 all the way to Shippuden. Okay? Jiraiya is no slouch. Stop disrespecting the guy. Like, it's just ignorant, it's trolling behavior, and it's being dishonest and ratty. Like, it's just stupid. So, now that that's all out the way, and I had to address all that, okay? Jiraiya more than likely beats Deidara and Sasori as well, okay? Most definitely whoops Kakazu's ass. I don't give a fuck, okay? And that's just that. Could Sasori and Deidara pull it off? Yes, I would not detest that. But if I had to argue in anyone's favor or pick a side, I'm going with Jiraiya. He has more than likely the highest probability of beating those characters. The evidence is there. The narrative implications is there. The jutsus, his power-ups, aka Sage Mode, you name it, it's all there. It's not fucking rocket science. Like, it's really not. And the only people that are even objecting or testifying against Jiraiya being able to beat these characters, okay, are people that are either stubborn, ignorant, ratty debaters, or aka ramen packs or noodle supporters, okay? It's fucking stupid, Everybody else, literally 90% of the Naruto community, at least understands the fact that Jiraiya could be able to beat these characters that have been listed so far. I don't have a problem with that. Plenty of evidence for it. Let's continue. Let's watch this. We're going to try to make this video an hour long at most, and then we'll release the final part in the following next video for part 3. All right.
Gaara won against Deidara, and it'd just be like, man, how would we go about saying that he decided to? It's like, would he just be a merciless, like, you know what, fuck the village, I didn't care about it at all, and then just fly out of the blast radius, so then the video, like, so then everybody dies, or did he just, he just becomes cold-blooded again, and it's just, like, he literally is fast enough to do that.
He could have just protected his own body with his sand, he could have just, put all that sand around him instead of the village, and he would have just been fine, but he didn't want to sacrifice the life of his village. He's a Kage, he has to protect them, so, yeah.
Like I said, I stated this in part 1. It's going to be once in a blue moon for you guys to ever hear me agree with this fucking guy. But he's not wrong. If Gaara would have defeated Deidara, in my opinion, or what I should actually say, Deidara could have beat Gaara, especially if he did his fucking, you know what I mean, like his incineration, like, I don't know, I can't remember what it's called. It's either C4 or C3, I don't know. But it's the ability that's a hacks-based explosion ability, to where you basically just incinerate from the inside. If you breathe that shit in, you're dead. That's it. There's nothing fucking saving you, okay? And then basically at that point, Gaara would have been killed. But obviously Deidara can't kill Gaara because he was a Jinchuriki. So Deidara does have to, just incapacitate him or immobilize him. And the only reason why Gaara lost that fight, okay, was because he had to choose either the village or himself. He's the Kage. Obviously, he's going to choose the village to protect him, which gave an opening for Datara to be able to do an explosion to his face, and then he got knocked out. So they're not, you know what I mean? Like, they're not lying on that. They're not capping on that. Gaara would have most definitely probably won that fight. The only way Datara would have came on top of that is if he was willing to kill Gaara or if he retreated. Because at the end of the day, Gaara was fucking up Datara, took his arm off immediately, and then Datara was like, all right, if I continue, I'm more than likely going to die, so let me exploit his weakness to protect his village and the innocent. And that's what he did, and he got him the W. So, is that fucking simple? Now, if they're both trying to kill each other, who would win? It can go honestly either way, in my opinion. At the end of the day, Gaara is the one-tailed Jinchuriki, so if Gaara does, get remotely hurt in a way, that Shikaku would just come out, and now Datara has to deal with a full-on tail beast. And if he's struggling with Gaara and Shikaku's sand arms that fuck his shit up, I don't think he's beating Shikaku either, okay? And that's just that being said, unless you think Datara's, hack cellular jutsu can also beat a tail beast somehow, or whatever. But then again, that would kill the tail beast if that would be the case. So it's either Datara gets killed by Gaara's tail beast, maybe Gaara, or Datara kills Gaara by using his hack's explosion jutsu. So, and it's just that. But if Datara does have to hold back, which he did because he needed to capture him, Gaara would have more than likely won that fight. It's just that simple.
He would have beaten Datara. And Datara ran out of clay after that, so there's no way you could say he wouldn't have won. And he'd already crushed his arm at that point, too. And the entire fight was literally just Datara running away from Gaara. Because he didn't want to, engage his sand at all. He just was not messing with it. Gaara was definitely above Datara in that fight. And had they fought in a battlefield which didn't have the threat of him blowing up the entire village, Gaara would have beaten him 100%.
I wouldn't say that either. Like I already said what I needed to say. Datara more than definitely could have pulled off a W. Could Gaara potentially do it? Sure, maybe. Especially, tail beast and all that. But like I said, that ability that Datara has where he can literally just incinerate you is ridiculous. And Gaara don't got a shotgun and Rinnegan. So if he can't see that shit and Datara's thing goes like poof, like a balloon, and next thing you know he breathes that shit in, can't see it. It's microscopic explosions that are going into your fucking body. He's dying. So, no. That I will also disagree with.
And the war rolled around. And he still seemed to be weaker than A and Onoki. So, if Jiraiya is stronger than both of them, then this should firmly put him above Datara.
In my opinion, I like to think that if you imply that Jiraiya and Orochimaru are equals, that Orochimaru and Jiraiya are probably relative, or if not above the level of Sasuke that could already
Orochimaru is.
beat Datara anyway. The only difference is that, unlike Sasuke, who is close to very short mid-range, Jiraiya and Orochimaru are a lot longer range than he is, which allows them to have more of an upper hand against Datara.
Absolutely.
There's also this implication that Orochimaru did not fear Sasori at all, and
Talk about from the
Sasori
games.
was trying to spy on Orochimaru. He was aware of it. There's this pseudo rivalry.
Well, I
where
think
it
they're
seems
just
that
putting us
Orochimaru was very confident in taking him, and even was going to assassinate him.
Yeah,
at one
maybe.
point. The only other thing is that it also seemed in those scenes that Orochimaru had zero fear when it came to Datara, and I would just argue that due to that.
Okay, he had zero fear when he fought Itachi too, and we saw what happened. That just is because Orochimaru is just that dude. He's not scared of nobody, bro. He didn't fear nobody except maybe Hashirama. That might have been the only dude we saw Orochimaru sweat against, and Obito and Madara, people like that. But when he fought Itachi, he literally just hey Itachi, and he tried to steal his eye immediately. Yeah. He did not care. Also, and he got bodied, so he was afraid of him after that, I guess. Even then, I don't even know if he was afraid, but yeah.
Also, do you want?
So to react to what he basically just stated, he's not wrong, but he's not right either. So yes, Orochimaru, he's a very ballsy, weird guy. He's not really afraid of anyone. The only people we ever saw him actually be afraid of was Hashirama, the first Hokage, which is understandable. The guy is a beast, okay? But Itachi pulls up on him, and Itachi bodied him effortlessly. You know what I mean? Clearly establishing that Itachi is on a whole other level compared to the Sonic, okay? And at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, Itachi's Itachi. Deidara and Sasori, they ain't Itachi, okay? You guys gotta remember, Itachi is a guy that's a fucking prodigy, was a genius and natural at anything he did, ridiculous genjutsu abilities that is basically a fucking walking cheat code, okay, to where you get put in an illusion, and before you can even react, he's killing you, or you're sealed, or dead, you know, like, so, you can't even compare Deidara and Sasori to Itachi and establish that as a connection to prove why they could beat Jiraiya or whatever. It's totally different scaling. As a matter of fact, when Itachi fought against Deidara, he immediately put him in a genjutsu, and Deidara was about to blow himself up. Like, you're talking about two different individuals that have a totally different fighting style. Jiraiya would be able to deal with Deidara's fighting style. You know what I mean? Itachi, on the other hand, genjutsu, that's a fucking problem. It's really not fair. You know what I mean? And especially if you get hit by a Tsukiyomi. That shit happens in a picosecond. I didn't even know what a fucking picosecond was until I Googled it. And that shit is ridiculous, okay? So meaning it is literally impossible for you to even know that you were in his Tsukiyomi. And there's no way for you to get out of it, nothing, and you're just dead. You're dead. You're dead. So Itachi, he's just built different. So that connection and establishment is stupid. There's no reason to bring Itachi up to begin with. Okay, maybe for the whole Orochimaru not being afraid or whatever, sure, but that's not a big deal. That's just Orochimaru. Shit, if I was immortal and a weirdo and had snake abilities and can't die and can regenerate anything that basically happens to me, I'd probably not fear anything either, you know, until I learn the hard way. So, overall, you know, it's just fucking stupid. Bottom line is, Deidara and Sasori are not Itachi. They're not Itachi. Itachi is totally different. He's built different. And he's more powerful due to his genjutsu and hacks abilities. It's that simple. You know, Susanoo is ridiculous. It's a big difference. So yes, Itachi would shit on Jiraiya because we've seen him shit on Orochimaru, who is also another legendary Sonic. And Jiraiya in base, you can most definitely say is relative to Orochimaru, or they can go back and forth or whatever. And Orochimaru would more than likely win if it was base to base. But it's not like Orochimaru's speed blitzing Jiraiya. Like, that's just not the case. We've seen them fight when they were both nerfed and handicapped as well, and they're basically just going back and forth. So, base to base, that's not a problem. If Jiraiya goes his Sage mode, Orochimaru is more than likely going to go his 8 Serpent, transformation. And at the end of the day, if Jiraiya is doing, like, his ninjutsu-based abilities, or Earth Swamp, or his dimensional jutsu, or better yet, a massive fucking Rasengan or whatever, you could argue that could do a lot of good damage to Orochimaru, but he would just regenerate, and then the only way for Jiraiya to even deal with Orochimaru would either be Dark Swamp, or just sending him to another dimension, and that's it, and keeping him there, okay? But regardless, Sage Mode, though, is more powerful than Orochimaru's base. And, like I said, if Kishimoto is showing clear narrative implications, literally showed us Orochimaru fighting against Sasori and Deidara at the same time, and just using Edo Tensei, and having no problems, and having some fun, you know, and then Orochimaru even fought against Sasori 1v1 before that too, no issues, okay? It's really weird to just say Sasori and Deidara just immediately killed Jiraiya in base. Or just overall, even if he's in Sage Mode. It's stupid. It's weird. They're legendary Sonic for a reason. Could they be able to pull it off if something happened, whatever? Obviously. They're crazy powerful. But in the scaling, the narrative implications of it, etc., it's just that simple.
I'm gonna address the whole whether or not Jiraiya and Orochimaru are equals.
Okay,
thing.
So there's a statement in the first data book that Tsunade...
Oh, here we go with the fucking statements. Hey, like, don't get me wrong, guys. There's statements that are good in Naruto and that are backed up with so much evidence, you name it, whatever. But then you have these statements that are clear downplay statements or hyperbole statements or statements that are contradicted millions of times, whether it's narratively or by other feats. And I swear to God, because this guy is the god of, of basically, just random. Like, let's say the president of the United States says a dog, okay, is better than cats. Therefore, now a dog is better than cats, because he's the president of the United States or whatever. That is how fucking Noodles is, and he takes statements literal. And when it comes to the data book statements, it's really not a reliable source 9 times out of 10. And what I mean by that, one example to where in Part 1 Naruto, there's a data book statement that says Kakashi is the strongest ninja in Konoha at his time. You're telling me he's stronger than the legendary Sannin and Hiruzen? Are you fucking kidding me? When he fought against Orochimaru, because of fear alone in the power gap, he saw his head get cut off and roll on the ground. It didn't show that in the anime, but it's actually in the manga if you guys don't know that. And in the anime, he's just so scared of Orochimaru, he can't even move. Like, clearly showing that Kakashi is not even on that level yet. Meaning, therefore, that data book statement is complete bullshit. And obviously, Kishimoto is more than likely interpreting in something else entirely. Not all around of that he can beat everyone. That's just stupid. And he's not beating Hiruzen, who is the fucking Hokage. That is stupid too. So overall, there's many more statements out there that are just not fucking true or just stupid. Another one where it talks about Hebi Sasuke to where his godlike speed, it makes him more powerful than the entire Akatsuki. I'm not even entertaining that. So, just for all the people that heavily rely on statements, okay, really analyze your goddamn statement and really, look at the bigger picture and hope that there's not either contradictions or anti-feats, or better yet, just knowing that it's pure stupid and that it's clearly for an interpretation into a whole other direction and not for an actual, ridiculous logical reason that people can have for statements. I can't stand statement arguments. It's because some are make sense, but some are just dumb. So let's see what this statement's about.
Jiraiya and Orochimaru are all relative to each other. Fine, well, good, whatever. I don't really care. That's whatever to me. Let's say that Part 1, Jiraiya and Orochimaru are equal to each other, and Tsunade is equal to them in Part 1. Okay, there's now a 3-year time gap since then. Okay, Orochimaru has not gotten a new body since his fight with Hiruzen for 3 years. Mind you, his body, he needs to get a new host every year or so, or every 2 years, some shit like that. Or else he'll begin to weaken in power and become really sick. This is why Orochimaru was horribly sick at the beginning of Shippuden. Okay.
I would have to reread the manga. Obviously, I wouldn't go through the anime because that would take way fucking longer, even though the anime gives you more details and information. So in my opinion, it's actually better to review the anime for things. But I would have to reread the manga of all of that because, from my memory, Orochimaru was very sick and injured because Hiruzen used the god of death and sealed his soul with his arms, and you know what I mean, with his body and everything. And that caused, severe damage and sickness and everything. And then on top of it, of him needing a body. Okay? And that was more the reason of why he was, sick or hurt. I remember even in the anime where his arms are bleeding. And there's so much blood. And they're, dark purple and just bleeding. So, that was more the reason why he was nerfed and handicapped. It wasn't really because he was lacking a body. I don't really remember or recall. I could be wrong. But from what I remember, that's what was more of the reason. It was due to the Reaper Death Seal that Hiruzen used on Orochimaru. But regardless, let's continue.
And it's been 3 years, and he's horribly weakened, has no control of his arms, and he fights, was it Four Tails Naruto? The same Four Tails Naruto.
Oh, and another thing, he also was still body swapping as well. So when he body swaps, until I think it's after 3 years that he has to wait before he can do it again. It's not a year. I don't know why Noodles said that. I specifically remember that because everyone's whole thing was, oh, we have 3 years to save Sasuke before Orochimaru, Pedo Orochimaru takes his body. Okay, so overall it's 3 years, And he did take a body, because if he didn't, he would have died. He was waiting to take Kid Sasuke's body, but I can't remember the reason why he didn't go that far, or actually, that's what it was. He was supposed to take Sasuke's body right then and then, but it took too long because of, the rescue mission and everything. And Kabuto told Orochimaru, hey, if you don't take a body right now, you're dead. You're dying. And so he absorbed a body, and bam, he was good to go. So, with all of that being said, okay, I don't know what he's on about. You know what I mean? Like, that's a little weird. And then eventually, he's able to fight against, then he fights against Four Tails Naruto, which is what Noodles was getting to. Now, what I need to go back on, unfortunately, is whether if Orochimaru's arms still worked or if they didn't. Because what I can't remember is how he got his arms back. Because eventually he does get his arms back. I don't know if that's until the war arc where he, slices the Reaper Death Seal's belly and gets that arm soul back, which I believe I'm correct on that. And that's when he has, his arms or whatever back and everything. Or he didn't have his, he wasn't, I don't know, I can't remember, because, actually, no. In the Four Tails Naruto fight, he did have his arms. Because one scene I do remember is him punching the Four Tails in the face, and then the Four Tails just cutting him in half. So, yeah, he could still use his whole body. So, yeah, so when Orochimaru body swapped that one guy that I don't remember, he was just another shinobi or whatever, his body was good to go. So, I would have to go through it again, like I said. I'm not going to, but I do remember, though, that his body was fine. At least in the Four Tails fight, there was no color, pigmentation, no nothing, no statement signifying that, whatever. It looked like he was just ready to go, prime. You know what I mean? So, I'm just putting that out there. And I think what he's going to do with the connection is that when Jiraiya undid the seal for Naruto because he was trying to help Naruto master the power of the Nine Tails because the fourth Hokage believed in him, okay? And that made Jiraiya even believe, if Minato believed. But of course, like an idiot, he underestimated the Nine Tails, and the Nine Tails went on a rampage, and at the end of the day, it's Naruto, his student. So he's mentally nerfed, which you guys are probably like, oh, the mental... That's fucking how it works in Naruto. If people still don't understand that mental amps and mental nerfs are a thing, I don't know what to fucking tell you. I'm not going to hold your hand. So, overall, he's mentally nerfed. He's having to fight against his student. He doesn't want to kill him. He doesn't even want to hurt him. So, he's having to hold back. And the Four Tails is eventually able to land a critical blow on him to where he was in critical condition and he ended up getting scarred. He still survived, remind you, and was still able to seal Naruto while that injured. Orochimaru, on the other hand, died 1,000,000 times by Four Tails. Cut in half, blown the fuck up, okay, you name it. So, if he's really going to go the route to where, Orochimaru outperformed Jiraiya when he fought against Four Tails Naruto, that's fucking stupid and irrelevant, and there's a clear difference between the two. It's not rocket science, okay? It's fucking stupid. Imagine if, Sasuke had the Nine Tails, okay, or whatever, and Orochimaru was having to fight him. Same exact concept, you know what I mean? Or better yet, Orochimaru can't kill him for whatever reason, so he's having to hold back and this and that. Obviously, that's going to put you more at risk to getting hurt or at a disadvantage. It's that fucking simple. So, I hope he's not going the route, but it sounds like he is. And if that's the case, I just explained why that doesn't work. It's stupid.
That brought Jiraiya to near death. Okay? Jiraiya said there was 2 instances that he almost died. And it was when he was training...
So I can read him like a fucking book. Before he even says the words, I know. What'd I say?
Naruto to use his Nine Tails chakra. And he got, a massive scar across his chest, and he said that he nearly died then. And an armless, horribly sick, bedridden Orochimaru just fought the Four Tails and didn't die and took shots from him. He took a Biju bomb, he took a punch, was eating it and was throwing him around. Like,
whoa, 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 whoa. Bro, this is why he pisses me off, okay? He didn't tank shit. He got cut in half. And you want to know why he didn't die? Because Orochimaru is a weirdo and has healing abilities. Literally, when he got cut in half, normally you would think, oh yeah, you'd see some intestines, you know, you're dead, whatever, right? Nah. Snakes went from the top of his body to the bottom of his body, and they connected back. Imagine your intestines are snakes, and they just connect back, like, you know? So, clearly showing he has healing regeneration abilities, because once again, he's a fucking snake, okay? And he was on the route of trying to master Snake Sage Mode, but he never did it, and Kabuto did instead. He was close, but he never did the full process of it. So he has all these crazy abilities, and he's a fucking snake. He has healing regeneration. Got cut in half. Then when he touched the Four-Tail's skin, he got incinerated like what Datara's fucking jutsu did. And then when the Four-Tail shot a Tail Beast Bomb, his body was bent over like a fucking pretzel. He was dead. But once again, he can heal, which is an ability Jiraiya does not fucking have. He doesn't have healing regeneration abilities. So yeah, that's why Orochimaru was okay. And Orochimaru had to use that snake, that weird ass fucking like snake shedding ability where it's like he comes out of his mouth and opens that shit and is all slimy and you name it. And had to use that jutsu like a million fucking times, which makes you use a tremendous amount of chakra, by the way, okay? And eventually got to the point where Orochimaru was like, if I continue this fight, I'm going to die because I'm not going to have any more chakra to keep healing myself or bringing myself back to life. He's basically immortal in his own sense. Imagine Orochimaru and Kakazu and Hidan being on a fucking team. That would be scary alone, okay? So, yeah, Orochimaru, that's just how he is, which is the only reason why he was able to fight the Four-Tails for any reason. It wasn't because he scaled over Jiraiya. It wasn't because, you know, he was more powerful or faster or this and that, whatever. It was simply due to his hacks abilities and regeneration. Who the fuck cares? And at the end of the day, it's not his own student. He doesn't have to hold back. He was literally trying to kill him. He used his fucking sword that was stated to be able to pierce anything, okay, and launched the Four-Tails like super far away and couldn't kill him. He was literally trying to kill Naruto, but could not, and died over and over. So this whole like, oh, fucking, he was just taking it, you know what I mean? Taking the punches and this and that and yada yada. Get the fuck out of here. This is what I'm talking about. It's so ratty and it's so stupid. It's one thing to say that, oh yeah, well, you know, Orochimaru did better in performance-wise due to the fact that, you know, he could regenerate and bring himself back to life, yada yada, etc. While Jiraiya, you know what I mean, he basically is fighting whatever and then gets hit once and is in critical condition, bleeding, and then and is sealed him afterwards. Sure, if you want to, you know, compare and contrast that, yes, obviously Orochimaru performed better. But then again, if you want to refute that, okay, it's Jiraiya's student. Like, he's not trying to kill him. He is holding back, and he's just trying to seal him and basically make the Nine Tails go back. That's all he was trying to do. Like, there's a whole dialogue, there's conversations, you name it. Like, that is not a way to downplay Jiraiya or show as an anti-feat. It's fucking stupid.
That dude. And like he said, he would have been damaged or would have died if he had taken another shot from him or whatever like that. But it just goes to show that Jiraiya cannot withstand the same level of attacks that Orochimaru can, even while he's near dead. Okay? And then Orochimaru not only has that, but he also has tons of other like hacks and abilities, like his regeneration, like his poison, like his curse mark, like his Kusanagi blade, which could pierce the strongest summoning in existence, the monkey staff, which means it's stronger than Gamabunta, and all of the other summonings. He could.
Wait. Did he just say Orochimaru's sword is stronger than Gamabunta? Yeah, you could argue that it could probably cut Gamabunta or pierce him, but it ain't gonna kill him. If Gamabunta's swung his sword at Orochimaru and Orochimaru swung his sword, Orochimaru is flying across the planet like a baseball. So I don't know what he's on about that, but like I said, everything he's just stating, I already fucking explained it. Just goes out the window. It doesn't fucking matter. It's irrelevant.
Just like beat Jiraiya in so many different ways. He has tons of jutsu that he could use. And this is not even the best thing for him. This is not by far not the best thing for him. Later in the war, he gets Hashirama cells. Like his entire body becomes composed of Hashirama cells. And he fights, what's his name? Guru? I think his name? And he just stretches his neck up. The Guru that was like soloing the Shinobi Alliance and was like stalemating like Edo Hiruzen, the same Edo Hiruzen.
I already know what he's talking about. So to explain that really quick, that guy had multiple people launching at him and Karen doing her like Uzamonkey chains, and all those attacks being, simultaneously being thrown at him gave Orochimaru an opening to use his neck and to land a curse mark bite, and was able to immobilize and paralyze him. That's all that happened. Now, he's making it seem as Orochimaru's raw speed was able to speed blitz Guru that was like basically keeping the Shinobi Alliance at bay, just stopping them all from interfering. That's not the case. Once again, his ratty ass behavior that he likes to do.
And that can like partially react to Jubito. And like it like if here like Shikamaru said, if Hiruzen wasn't here right now, everything would be lost. Okay, it was stalemating Hiruzen, and Orochimaru just like stretches his neck out, bites him, and he dies.
He didn't die.
Orochimaru is dirty later on. He's so much stronger than he used to be, so it's just stupid.
I swear to God, Noodles' memory is so bad. Like, it's like he read it once. Like, it's like he didn't watch the anime, and it's like he maybe read the manga once, and he just goes off muscle memory or memory, and it's like he doesn't remember shit. Like, I've made those mistakes too, to where I either memorize something incorrectly, you know what I mean, or better yet, if I didn't know, I would actually go back and look. That never fucking happened. He didn't die. Like, and not only that, if you all did not know, by the way, spoiler alert, that was Yamato being controlled by Zetsu. Like, I don't understand what he's on about. All the curse mark does when he places it is it's basically like it can paralyze you. You know what I mean? And so on and so forth, etc. And if Orochimaru wants to just let it run its course, then yes, it can potentially kill you. But that's if Orochimaru wants to go that route. But the Guru never died from it. I don't understand what this guy is on about.
To even try to say Jiraiya is even close to that Orochimaru. Maybe like early Orochimaru, maybe like part 1 Orochimaru, but definitely not later.
So, bottom line is, Noodles thinks Orochimaru just straight up stomps whatever. That's not the case. They could compete against each other. They could do things. And overall, you know, when it really comes to it, the only advantage Orochimaru really has against Jiraiya is the simple fact that he's not playing around. He doesn't care if he kills Jiraiya or not. Jiraiya, on the other hand, is similar to Naruto, where he can be naive, you know what I mean, and he's holding back and not trying to kill the person he's fighting. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that is his best friend, you know? So, which you guys probably don't, I don't know if you remember or forgot this, but Orochimaru and Jiraiya did fight similar to how Naruto and Sasuke fought, and it was the same result. Orochimaru won, but he didn't kill Jiraiya, and he just left. And what Jiraiya did is he just gave up. He didn't pursue Orochimaru. He didn't care what he did anymore at that point. Naruto, on the other hand, kept pursuing Sasuke and kept trying to help, and you name it. So, even though Orochimaru did beat Jiraiya back then, that was during the Part 1 days, you know, and at the end of the day, narratively speaking, etc., you can easily just imply that they were fighting whatever, this and that, because I think the anime, I don't remember about the manga, but I know the anime even shows them kind of huffing and puffing, looking at each other, you know, and then does like a time skip, whatever, back to Jiraiya talking with Naruto in the hospital bed, and he basically stated that he lost, and then Orochimaru left and whatever. So even though Orochimaru won at that point, you guys got to remember, it's very, very probable and realistic because Jiraiya, at the end of the day, was either holding back or not trying to kill Orochimaru, and was literally trying to reason with his best friend and be like, hey, like, I get it that you lost your parents. I know you're grieving. I know you're hurting. I'm here. I'm trying to help you. Stop trying to kill me. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what was happening. And it was heavily implied when Jiraiya was speaking and explaining that to Naruto. So that's the main reason. But if they really came down to it and they were both either bloodlusted or fighting, whatever, it's going to go back and forth. And yes, it can go either way. But if Jiraiya lands a fucking, goes into Sage Mode or whatever, Orochimaru is losing. He like, what the fuck is he going to do against a Sage Mode user? You know what I mean? Like, he's taking the fucking L. You know? So unless Orochimaru is able to land a poison strike or the curse mark bite, you know, or lands a lethal blow with his sword, you know what I mean? Or it's anything like that or whatever, then yeah, sure. Jiraiya's fucked and he loses and he dies. But if Jiraiya, on the other hand, gets into Sage Mode and now has Ma and Paul, along with his summoning, so remind you, he can summon his frogs and everything too. Paul and Ma can also summon frogs as well. You see what I'm saying? Like, come on now. And he, at the end of the day, he is not fucking contesting with Sage Mode Jiraiya. Well, meaning that Sage Mode Jiraiya has multiple frog summonings, Ma and Paul, all his jutsus, hacks abilities. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Like, even if Orochimaru went into his 8-headed serpent jutsu, all that does is just make him huge and more powerful. And from my memory, at least, I would have to go back and to see if there's anything more. So I apologize for the ignorance on that. You know, he's just more powerful than Manda, the purple snake, as well. So overall, like, cool. He has like a power boost of an amp of like strength and power itself, and can regenerate any attacks that hit at him. Guess what? Hacks can beat generating things. Sending you to another dimension can also take care of you. You know what I mean? Like, all kinds of fucking ways to deal with that. In my opinion, Jiraiya does have the, you know, the capability and resources to deal with Orochimaru's next level transformation, if that makes any sense. While Jiraiya's transformation gives him more support, more power, and enhances him altogether. Do you see the difference? So the only way Orochimaru is winning, because yes, it can go either way, is if he lands one of his hacks abilities, whether if it's the poison, a lethal blow with the sword, or the curse mark bite. But if he can't do all of that, and Jiraiya is able to fight and contest or whatever, which I know he would be able to, we've seen it before also in the anime when they fought again for the second time, okay, he would have enough time, he goes into Sage Mode, GG. And if Orochimaru thinks, alright, I'll just go to my super mode, thinks that's enough to deal with Jiraiya, if anything, that's even worse for Orochimaru, because now he's not fast, and he's kind of just a big-ass thing, you know, and he's more susceptible to getting hit by a hack's ability that Jiraiya can do, or sending him to another dimension, or whatever the case may be. It's that fucking simple, you know? So, other than that, we're going to move on. Sorry that I've made this more of a topic for the video, but at the end of the day, this is a debunk video, you know, or if it's something I agree with, I'm going to agree with. If it's something I disagree with, I'm going to disagree with. And at the end of the day, like, everything Noodles is stating right now, which the whole reason why he's saying all of that is because his whole goal and establishment is to show that Jiraiya, you know what I mean, is under that character and blah, blah, and how this doesn't connect any of the scaling and this and that and yada, yada, and overall just implying that Jiraiya just sucks and he's weak and shit, okay? No. It's ignorant and it's stupid, it's dishonest, and it's ratty.
Plus, Tsunade, like, even, like, back then, has, like, the capability of one-shotting Jiraiya.
Yeah. And Orochimaru ate a shot from him without his arms. Or from her without his arms.
Yeah.
So, Tsunade could be able to do that to both of them, but the difference is, if Tsunade obviously did that to Jiraiya, he's taking the damage and he's kind of fucked. Orochimaru, on the other hand, he can regenerate or just bring himself back to life with that snake rebirth jutsu. That's the main thing. So, because when she did that to Orochimaru, basically she did like a lethal blow, but Orochimaru, due to like his healing regeneration and all that, just basically got him back. So.
Yeah. It just seems weird. Just wanted to clear some things in the chat that some people were trying to say was, let's see, what... Orochimaru was losing that match, you capping Noodles, plus he has regen.
Yeah, the regen is a point, and the idea wasn't that he was winning or something. The point was that he's able to withstand blows that Jiraiya was not able to withstand at all. Like the one shot that Jiraiya took, or whatever, like left a gigantic scar on his chest, and he was like completely like he said he like nearly died from it.
Yeah, and you know what? He still was able to seal Four Tails Naruto. So kiss my ass. Doesn't matter.
And then he also said he took a beating from Tsunade that nearly killed him as well. And when Orochimaru 2v1 them...
Yeah, it's fucking Tsunade. like, what is he on about? It doesn't matter.
In part 1, without arms, took multiple direct shots from a non-nerfed Tsunade and just ate them. Like, just further showing that even like this Orochi...
Well, to be fair, Tsunade did get fucked up by Kabuto. So she was fighting, losing chakra, you name it, and she did get damaged. So it wasn't like she was at her prime and fully ready to go. And then another thing, what's it called? Like I said, it's Orochimaru. The guy is regeneration and can bring himself back. Immortality compared to someone else that doesn't have immortality or regeneration. Big fucking difference. It doesn't matter. The only thing you can argue is that Orochimaru has a better survival abilities compared to Jiraiya. Who cares? That has nothing to do with actual power scaling of both characters. Nothing. All because Sasuke doesn't have regeneration abilities like Naruto because of the Nine Tails doesn't mean that fucking Sasuke can't be equal to Naruto or surpass him. We've seen it plenty of times. It doesn't matter.
Orochimaru, who's supposedly relative to Jiraiya, still has better durability feats than him.
Also, I don't know why people keep, I've seen multiple comments on this already that people are just like, Jiraiya wasn't in a combative state in any of...
Oh, and another thing, what's it called? Sage mode also boosts durability. There's even proof for that. And at the end of the day, we can't quantify the level of durability that Jiraiya could be able to withstand now in his Sage mode. But his durability would increase and be better than Orochimaru. Meaning that, like, if Orochimaru got clawed or whatever by, let's say, the Four Tails, right? And you get cut in half, whatever, right? And Jiraiya, on the other hand, it'd probably just be like a scratch, or maybe like a deep cut wound, But that's it. Compared to if it was just base Jiraiya, he would be cut in half and just dead. You know what I mean? So, just putting that out there. 2 examples. It's shown in the training with Naruto learning to do Sage mode. That's where the evidence and proof is. And when Minato was able to tank a 6-pass Jubi Madara Taijutsu kick. So, Sage mode increases durability. And if Jiraiya has Sage mode, which we all know he does, his durability actually would be better than Orochimaru. There's a difference between durability and regenerating abilities, or better yet, durability and hacks abilities. Totally big difference.
Those instances, he wasn't in combative sense with Tsunade or Naruto, and it's like, man...
Who cares? It's not. We're talking about durability. We're talking about durability. We're not talking about his offensive capability. We're talking about his defensive.
This isn't like some...
And another thing too, guys... I'm going to mention this as well. Durability is not the deciding factor in winning most battles either. It obviously can give you an advantage if you have crazy durability for whether if it's jutsu based or if you're just stat powerful. But 9 times out of 10 it doesn't matter about durability. It matters about your intelligence, your jutsus, and your fighting style and what you can put on the table. Meaning, therefore, that's the whole reason for shadow clones and substitution jutsu, hacks abilities, Sage mode, you name it. Those type of things allow or basically take care of the factor when it comes to durability. So even if another character can have better durability, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, if the character has other abilities or jutsus or whatever that can compensate for the lack of durability, they're still okay. It doesn't matter. So, once again, irrelevant.
Don't like how people just think everything is just like Dragon Ball, and that like if you're not in a combative sense or if you're off guard, then your durability just drops to 0.
Yeah, that's not how it works in Naruto.
It's not even how it works in Naruto or even in real life. A
big thing about this too, the hardest thing about Orochimaru is his resilience, his regen, his durability, his like immortality, all those things, like his Kusanagi blade. Like he's really hard to kill.
Bro, they need to move on. You're just repeating. Move on. Get to the fucking video.
Like even if you like punch him, he'll just like spit himself out again. Like it's insane. Like he just keeps getting crazier. Like it's hard to put him down.
Yes.
So
keep sucking
Jiraiya
his
would need to
snake
find a
dick.
way to
Who
get around the
cares?
curse mark. Like what if that gets put on him? He'll just lose right there because then his entire body's corrupted. Do the same thing he did to Guru. It's just hard for Jiraiya to win that fight. Like it just
No,
be
it's
super
not.
Orochimaru-
It's very possible.
Orochimaru just has way
Very
more
possible.
win cons than Jiraiya does. And it
No,
makes sense.
they would
He
have the equal
literally
amount of win
left
cons.
the village so then he can learn, like, try to become the best shinobi on the planet and be like Hiruzen and know almost every single jutsu on the planet. Like,
yeah.
it makes sense for him to know. all
and
that
another
shit.
thing too, there's even statements in Naruto to where everyone's saying that if Jiraiya was there, that you know he could have been able to stop Orochimaru, or better yet, save the third Hokage and all this other stuff. There's tons of statements out there from characters that are mentioning that Jiraiya is basically the only capable shinobi to contest against Orochimaru. Period. Hiruzen and Jiraiya were one of the two. And then there's also another statement where they're like, oh man, I wish the fourth Hokage was here, because if he was here, everything would be totally different, which is also true as well. So just putting that out there as well.
More than Jiraiya. Jiraiya, that wasn't his goal. Like,
Yeah. Does Orochimaru regen surpass Tsunade's 100 healings? I mean, he can literally
Thank you, baby.
die and still come back.
yeah.
I don't know, man. Like,
Also,
a little
Orochimaru
snake slithered
saved-
away, and he could regen from that.
I would say Orochimaru's healing is better than Tsunade's. What I mean by that is if it's like a critical lethal blow, Orochimaru can just literally regenerate that. Tsunade, on the other hand, when she got sliced in half by Madara's perfect Susanoo, she was healing to keep herself alive, but she couldn't, like, you know what I mean, like, repair herself, you know what I mean, or anything like that. And instead, I can't remember what exactly what it was, but something else had to happen. And then she was fine and able to repair both her body parts back together somehow. I can't remember what it was, though.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, he literally saved Tsunade from dying when she got cut in half. So
Yes, that was what it was. Orochimaru, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure that is correct. Orochimaru came and was able to fix her up or something. Something like that. It was either him or someone else. I can't remember, though. I would have to go back. For all I know, they could be lying about that, too.
Yeah,
what does that tell you, bro?
her 100 healings couldn't even heal herself, and he just like walked over to her and stopped her from dying. Anyway, though, let's keep going.
Scaling that Jiraiya probably is that level, at least relative enough to fight in that battle, in which, you know, Toad Song and all kinds of things.
But yeah,
just
that
kinda,
goes off there.
It
Like,
just
some
kind of
people-
like there's just so many win cons for Jiraiya, and he probably, like, due
No.
to scaling to Sasuke and Orochimaru.
Yes.
Probably.
It's not no. Yes. Not no. Yes. See. Not no. Okay? Yes. Be mad.
He has the reaction speed and the smarts and the senses just to survive long enough.
No.
Maybe
Yes.
a crazy bomb went off or something.
Yeah, like a C3.
But who knows? You know, maybe he can also reverse summon himself or
Oh, he definitely
something.
could. Couldn't he put
you
himself
know?
in like the belly of the frog, right? Like
Yeah,
he did in the
exactly.
fight against pain. So he
Yes.
has like escape mechanisms.
He might be able to just like teleport data
What about the micro bombs that just go inside of him and blow him up before he even notices?
Yeah, like I said, Noodles, that's the only thing he's going to be right on that. The micro bombs, if Jiraiya breathes that in, he's dead. There is nothing he can do at all. Even with Sage Mode, he's dead. If it's anything else, though, Jiraiya has plenty of ways to deal with it. Plenty. So, like I said, Jiraiya would have to win that fight and be fast enough to take care of Datara before he uses the micro bombs. That's it.
They're there because he doesn't have lightning jutsu to disable.
That is the only, like, if I was actually arguing for Datara in his corner, that is the main argument I would go to. It's a strong argument. But you would also have to prove it even gets to that point, especially if we're talking about in character. And two, of whether or not Jiraiya would be able to take care of Datara before it even gets to that point. So, just saying.
Them. Like, the only reason Kakashi was able to stop them was through his lightning jutsu, which Jiraiya just doesn't even have.
Into that realm while he blows up.
Oh no, he meant to say Sasuke. He said Kakashi. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
So, one thing about Jiraiya is that he has such an arsenal of hacks.
Pause for a second. He said that the Jiraiya would be able to negate Datara blowing himself up by teleporting him inside the fucking frog belly.
Yeah.
The frog belly?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The frog would explode unless the frog's located somewhere else. He could definitely...
So, the frogs, there's actually like the data book statements as well, and there's other information. The frogs, like that one jutsu where you're in the belly and all that, and you can control and everything, it's actually very fucking durable. It was literally stated that nothing can be able to like penetrate it or there's no escape or anything. Excuse me. The only thing that actually destroyed it, because once again it's Itachi, he's built different. His black Amaterasu flames was hot enough to penetrate. So yes, Datara has a punch, like, you know what I mean, a strong concussive punch, you know what I mean, but it's nowhere near the temperature of Amaterasu. There's no proof. You can't debate that. You can't argue that. And Amaterasu was the only counter to get out of that situation, period. Now, yes, you could argue probably other things to do that as well. Like, for instance, like pain, etc. But Datara's explosive AP, that, in my opinion, it would not be enough to get through that. And let's say even if it was powerful enough to break through, you know, and do an explosion, it's going to contain the explosion where it's just going to be a weaker explosion. Or better yet, the body parts are just going to go everywhere. You know what I mean? Or, you know, fucking Jiraiya could just put him into that and then send the frog to jump away. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. You know, or better yet, actually, this is another thing. Sasuke summoned the snake, Manda, and he made him, like, Sharingan Genjutsu to him and made him swallow him, and Manda tanked the explosion. So if a fucking snake could tank the damn explosion, I don't see what's the problem with a fucking frog tanking the explosion. We're talking about fiction, okay? We're talking about these big-ass creatures that are literally powerhouses, okay? So, yeah, swagkage and Seth, it's very understandable. I don't see any issues with that. But like I said, this guy, he's going to look for any way of like, no, it's Jiraiya. He can't do anything, and blah, 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 and have a hissy fit. So
maybe reverse summon himself. Like, I think that's valid. But, like, what's he going to do? Is he just going to stay in the frog belly forever? Like, what does he do? Does he just keep doing that? Like, he'll come out, see a bomb, go back in? Like, is that how that works?
Yeah,
I don't think that's how that works. I don't think Jiraiya ever does that in character, or he would fight like that. And I don't think Orochimaru, or I don't think Datara would keep throwing clay at him if he just...
That's a bad argument. And the reason why, because especially if you're talking in character, Datara is definitely going to fucking lose the fight. Datara is very prideful. He always underestimates his opponents. And most importantly, okay, Datara in character doesn't just go straight to his suicidal bomb move or to his microscopic explosion. So, just saying.
Kept doing that. He would see it once and not do it again. He would just, like, set traps for him, like set mines on the battlefield, use his micro bombs to blow.
That's not true. Datara has never done that either. Obito set the mines for Datara, not Datara. Once again,
things like that. There's plenty of ways of getting around that. Like, Jiraiya can play this, like, cat and mouse game where he runs and hides all he wants, but he's gonna come out and have to fight eventually. Like, in a versus matchup, we're trying to find who would win in a fight, okay? And usually, like, we go under...
But overall, Jiraiya would be more than capable to allow himself to survive, do what he needs to do, and if that man gets in Sage mode, it is G fucking G. You know what I mean? Like, before Datara even does his explosion jutsu, it's not happening. He gets kicked to the face just like the Path of Pain and speed blitzed, okay? Or just better yet, gets bodied by a fucking massive Rasengan or any of his other techniques that are either enhanced by Sage Jutsu or whatever, or his fastest jutsu. Datara's taking the blow and he's getting fucked up and he's dead. It's that fucking simple.
Standard battle assumptions. Not saying they necessarily are, but that's just how it usually goes. People come with in character willing to kill. Okay, if Jiraiya is willing to kill Deidara, he's got to try to do something to end him. And when he tries to do that thing, that's when the bomb goes off. That's when he dies. Now, he maybe could frog song him. Like, I think Deidara and Kakazu, more reasonable for him to kill than some other characters later. But I've heard some things about this list. I've heard some things, so I'm curious.
Nobody really seems to talk about for some reason, which helps him a lot with these fights. Now, as for the Kakazu fight, I do think that Jiraiya is more like a Kakazu level for me personally.
Yeah.
I think that one's a lot harder for me to decide on. As you guys know, I think Pain is stronger than Kakazu, but you know, I also think Pain is a lot stronger than Jiraiya, so it's not really any statement for me. So I would say that Jiraiya is closer to Kakazu than to Pain, in my opinion, for the most part.
I agree with that. I think that Pain's like way above him.
Yeah, and something that kind of supports that is you have Kakashi fight a Pain, and he fights the strongest Pain.
I talked about this before.
He actually fights the Pain that ripped Jiraiya's arm off, as well as the Honcho Pain.
Yep.
So he fights stronger Pains than Jiraiya and Sage Mode did. Not to say he beats Sage Jiraiya, but you know, just an example. And this Kakashi just got done kind of losing to Kakazu without his MS.
Kinda?
Yeah, it was a kinda. Yeah, you getting mad, huh? You getting triggered, huh? I bet you are. Yes, kinda. They were relative. They were going back and forth. Kakashi did very good against Kakazu. Better yet, Kakashi did a 2v1 and was still putting up a fight against Kakazu and hit on and was whooping ass. And he even speed blitzed Kakazu from behind and killed him. Which reminds you, Kakazu couldn't even kill in one shot Shikamaru that had no idea he was behind him and caught off guard, and Shikamaru was still able to dodge that attack. While Kakashi, on the other hand, did the same exact thing Kakazu did to Shikamaru, but Kakazu couldn't even detect, trace him, and could not even react, and got killed as well. And mind you, the Kakazu we're talking about is a guy that was struggling against Shikamaru. Shikamaru even 2v1 them, and won and caught him in the shadow possession. So, overall, yes, kinda lost. And what to kind of go even on about that, because I don't think swagkage and Seth are going to elaborate on that, when the only time Kakazu ever had the advantage on Kakashi was when he was utilizing his other, like, weird fucking, you know, ninjutsu-based puppets or whatever, and they were kind of, like, fighting Kakashi and whatnot, and Kakashi is fighting back with just his, you know, his Tomo Sharingan, and then he gets caught off guard from behind, from the tentacles, slammed on the ground, and then Kakazu's like, alright, you're finished, whatever. All Kakashi had to do is Kamui right at that moment, or Raikuri, and he could cut off the fucking tentacles. And then bam, just charge at him, and they're going. That's all that had to happen. We literally even see Kakashi Raikuri his tentacles to save Naruto. So, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, kinda lost. Meaning that, yeah, Kakazu had some moments on him, Kakashi had moments on him as well. And in the anime, Kishimoto even shows more detail and evidence to show that they were relative to each other and kind of going back and forth, whatever, and even showed taijutsu exchanges. And showed Kakashi killing Kakazu, and then showing Kakazu landing a couple blows at Kakashi. Not killing, just landing some blows. So, yes, I would most definitely say kinda. And Shikamaru was even able to land a water-style puddle lightning fusion jutsu with scrolls and was able to hit Kakazu. And Kakazu's God tier speed or KCM1 speed or whatever else, you know, where was it then, right? But you know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like, against Shikamaru and Kakashi. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and you're really gonna like lose your mind over the fact that they're basically connecting dots narratively and just scaling wise from feats and etc. To how Jiraiya's more in the Kakasu level side of things, which is fair to say, and I do agree as well. Boo-hoo, cry. I can't wait to hear it. Cry.
Yep, dog, bro.
Give or take. You know, they were somewhat relative-ish, with Kakazu slightly superior. Of course, Kakashi, you could always whip.
No, they weren't relative at all. Yeah, this panel just totally looks like. Oh, just what? Look at this panel. This totally just looks like Kakashi's like relative.
Without his MS, give or take.
Watch the anime. Watch the anime and read the manga. They're relative. They were going. And not only that, the craziest thing, Kakasu and Hidan were trying to kill Kakashi and going all out. Kakashi, on the other hand, wasn't even using Mangekyo Sharingan or Kamui. Never went full power. And we all know the Mangekyo Sharingan does enhance your power as well. Plenty of statements and proof for it. And Kamui is a broken ass hacks ability that you cannot dodge or deal with unless you're Obito. Okay? Or, you know, some very, very powerful level of you know, in character like, you know, Jubito level scaling and etc. So, overall, like, that's simple. While Kakazu, on the other hand, was trying to kill him, both of them were trying to kill him, and then Kakazu goes in his strongest forms, you know what I mean, his two strongest forms, and still cannot kill everyone or speed blitz them or destroy them all, and loses to Naruto. So,
yeah.
You know,
He's running away.
He's just running away and getting slammed. Like, yeah, it looks totally relative.
As he implied, but you know, the Sharingan Kakashi that fought Kakuzu was also, you know, shortly later fighting, you know, stronger pain. So yes, I do think that Sage Jiraiya probably is more like that tier than Pain. So I do think that it's a debatable subject. So.
Obviously,
It's definitely
we
not.
know Naruto beat Kakazu, and Naruto believes that in order to beat somebody who killed Jiraiya, he's going to have to learn Sage Mode. Like, I think that Sage Jiraiya is still way stronger than that Rasen Shuriken Kakazu battle Naruto. I don't think...
Why?
Oh.
It literally...
is it rocket science? What do you mean, why? What do you mean, why? It's Sage Mode Jiraiya against base Naruto. Is that really inconceivable to understand? Now, obviously, if we're comparing like a Raisen Shuriken against the fucking massive Sage Art Rasengan, you know what I mean? Like, you could argue that the Raisen Shuriken's more than likely going to beat that, or better yet, it could stalemate. And you want to know why? It's 50%, it's incomplete, okay? And it's Sage Mode energy combined with Ninjutsu Chakra enhanced with a shit ton of chakra against a Raisen Shuriken that is incomplete 50%, and it's also fatigued and tired Naruto. So yeah, for all we know, a maxed out prime Sage Mode massive Rasengan could probably stalemate a Raisen Shuriken. Probably. It's possible. It's fucking Sage Mode, for crying out loud. Now, if we're talking about like 100% Raisen Shuriken, you know what I mean? Being like slammed into a Sage Mode Raisen, you know, massive Rasengan, maybe, you know, more than likely Naruto would beat it, you know, or surpass it, you know? But you guys got to remember, there's literally a statement that says that the 50% incomplete Raisen Shuriken was rivaling the power of the 4th Hokage. And we all know the 4th Hokage doesn't have Raisen Shuriken, meaning that either with Sage Mode in his Rasengan, it rivals that power, or his Kunine rivals that power, or his Raisengans, or massive or not, rival. Like, we don't fucking know. But bottom line is, the fact that that's even a statement period is insane. So yes, if Kishimoto is clearly establishing that power can still be rivaled, even if it's not the Raisen Shuriken, he more than likely means that if you acquire Sage Mode, or if you put enough chakra input, which is also stated and supported, okay, to where you can, yes, either stalemate a jutsu that is technically supposed to be more powerful, or beat it. It has been shown many times in Naruto. So, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. If Sage Jiraiya went against that Naruto, he wouldn't even be able to do a Raisen Shuriken. And even if he did a Raisen Shuriken, Jiraiya would be more than capable of dealing with that. Like, I don't understand. You know, like, it's just so fucking stupid.
It says in the data book, the incomplete Rasen Shuriken, not even referring to the full Rasen Shuriken. The one that he threw at Kakazu, nobody could withstand. And Kakazu, this dude that can fight Biju in base, like literally just took a paw strike from Madata.
That's actually not true. Kakazu cannot fight Biju in base. He got destroyed by Biju instead. He literally got slammed into the ground. So that's also another ratty, dishonest, stupid thing he's going to do. It's not true at all. Kakazu has never been shown to actually brawl out with a tail beast like the third Raikage or Madara or Hashirama with their fucking crazy hacks abilities. AKA the PS or Wood style. Okay? Kakazu has never displayed that, never showed that. Ever. I don't know. God, I fucking hate that. Like, it's so stupid. Instead, he gets bodied.
The same Matatabi that you could, harm Madara, like the one that, like, could tear his arm off and, like, bloody him with their claws. Yeah, Matatabi can...
Okay. What? Noodles, are you talking about the moment where all the tail beasts slam their tails on Madara and he loses an arm because of it? Because if you're talking about that moment, that wasn't just because of Matatabi. He's just dumb. He needs to retire. That's gonna be the title of this video. Noodles needs to retire. And then /part 2, reaction. Whatever in the rest. Jesus Christ.
Like, slam her paw on Kakazu and he's fine. Okay? And then the Rasen Shuriken can just obliterate him. Okay? What makes you think Jiraiya can handle that? Like, Swag just went on to agree that he thinks that Jiraiya and Kakazu are, like, in the same tier. And...
yeah, they're in the same tier of, like, scaling and whatnot, but then when you analyze both of them, like, all their abilities and what they can do, Jiraiya has that edge over him. It's that fucking simple. So meaning, therefore, aka Jiraiya would win, and if Jiraiya goes into Sage mode, GG. That's a big power gap. That's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like Jiraiya going Super Saiyan 2 while Kakazu is only Super Saiyan 1. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not fucking rocket science.
The Rasen Shuriken obliterated Kakazu, even though he's, like, supposed to be mad durable. And then Jiraiya, with no durability feats...
mad durable? You guys want to know something funny about that, too? Raikuri pierced him. Raisen Shuriken pierced him, a.k.a. the power of the fourth Hokage that he also thinks Minato couldn't kill him or hurt him. Okay. And what was it? It was also... oh, Asuma's henchmen sliced through his body and sliced him up like butter. They also did damage to him. And even though it's a Hack's ability, Hidon's ability also was able to pierce him. But raw durability, invincible durability, aka Superman level of durability, even though it's never shown.
Is just somehow stronger than that? How? Like, what would he do?
A whole lot of people would disagree.
Here,
with
pause
that.
for a second. Something I want to make sure that the chat knows about is that when Kakazu got one-shot by the Rasen Shuriken, Zetsu's first thing that he was going to do was to then tell Pain, yo, you need to be careful when you go up against Naruto, because he has a jutsu that one-shot like 2 of Kakazu's hearts at the same time. Do not underestimate Naruto. That was the first thing that he told Pain.
Yeah, he was, like, warning Pain about the Rasen.
Yeah, you want to know what also Zetsu said? That it was literally inconceivable and almost impossible for Pain to lose to anybody that was currently alive. And that means implying to Obito, to Itachi, to all these people. Kakazu, you name it. And mind you, Zetsu's been alive for eons. Since Kaguya and all that, you know what I mean? And literally thought it was inconceivable for Pain to lose a fight. And was baffled, mind blown, that Pain lost. And we all know Pain pretty much lost due to plot armor and the story progression for Naruto. It's the main fucking reason. But either way, besides that, okay, like, it's that simple. So, doesn't matter. Yeah, if I was Zetsu, I'd probably warn the Akatsuki or tell Pain to be like, hey, Naruto's pretty powerful, by the way. He has a really scary jutsu. Yeah, I'd probably give him a warning too. But doesn't matter because Pain literally has an ability that makes the Raisen Shuriken look like it's irrelevant.
Shuriken.
Oh, or better yet, Pain can actually deal with the Raisen Shuriken while Kakazu can't. But Kakazu is stronger than Pain, right?
Yeah. Rasen Shuriken next durability? It does. So what the fuck does Jiraiya do about that? Like, he would just get one-tapped by it, bro. It literally says in the data book, nobody can withstand the impact. Like, Noodles, and it makes sense because
Noodles is so retarded.
Nobody to that point did. The strongest the strongest people we saw didn't withstand it. Kakuzu and Pain. Those are the strongest people we'd seen in the series up to that point. Got one tapped by it. Okay. And it also was stated to surpass Kakashi, the one that they were saying fought the strongest paths of Pain. What the heck, bro?
Do you think that the thematic argument of him needing to learn Sage Mode to surpass his mentor probably makes a lot of sense, and is probably what Kishimoto was going for? So, if we're talking to the comments, I would say that makes sense. Yeah, sure, but
Now, Sasori is a character.
One more thing.
So, BRB chat.
Pain, he needed Sage Mode. It's like, do you want to address that argument right there?
I mean, he actually only needed a base for Rasengan. It was landing the hits on Pain that was the trouble. Like, if we're being real, like Konohama's base Rasengan and Naruto's base Rasengan both one-shot the pads of Pains respectively. Like,
that's actually not true. So, if you actually go into the anime or even the manga, yes, that Path of Pain does get hit by a Rising Gun, and it does damage. At the end of the day, it's a Rising Gun. The Rising Gun's really powerful. I don't know why people try to make it seem like the Rising Gun's a weak, horrible jutsu, and it's just something to laugh or sconder at, okay? Bottom line is, it's a powerful jutsu, but that's not even the point. The Pain was actually alive and okay. The reason why is because the robot Path of Pain would have never been brought back to life if that Pain could not function. Meaning, that Pain took a Rising Gun hit to the body and was still able to get up and still use its abilities. If anything, that's a durability feat itself, that he was able to tank a Rising Gun from Konohamaru, which is impressive. It's an A-rank jutsu at the end of the day. So, that's incorrect. You could literally go back to it, and the proof is fucking there. I'm not going to lie to you about that shit. And none of the other Pains have the ability to heal or bring them back to life. So, just saying, so that's not true. And the only time where Pain actually gets hit by the Rising Gun and gets, like, put down, not permanently, but temporarily, was by when Naruto threw his Shadow Clone with the Rising Gun, and it caught Pain off guard, and Pain is literally exhausted and fatigued at this point, and basically kneels down. Like, he doesn't even, like, he's not even trying to move, dodge, or anything, nothing. Just kneels, you know what I mean? And just kneel down and just like, all right, well, I'm just going to get hit here. And gets hit, and then gets sent flying, and then Naruto literally goes over, walks over, and is like, I better pull these rods and chakra receivers out to make sure he can't move at all. You know what I mean? And that he's immobilized. You know, meaning therefore that if Nagato was able to regain enough chakra, he could just start controlling him again and using him. You know what I mean? That at the end of the day, if the Pain's body isn't broken enough to where, you know what I mean, it can still be able to get up and move, at the end of the day, it's a dead corpse. It's just being controlled by chakra and enhanced by chakra. Okay, so with all that being said, it would just give it a bit of time and the Pain would just get back up and you're still having a fight. Which is why Naruto literally took out all the chakra receivers. He was like, nah, I ain't fucking with this anymore. And then utilized one of the chakra receivers to trace Nagato's chakra. So, overall, just putting that out there as well. So, he's trying to establish as if the Pains don't have impressive durability feats or anything like that. They actually do have really good durability feats. What's it called? The Pain was able to tank a Rising Gun from Jiraiya and also fall into a pool of acid and still be alive and be able to injure Jiraiya as well, critically. Tendo Pain was able to tank a six-tailed beast bomb to the face, something that we've never seen anyone do, remind you. Okay? And then what's it called? The robotic Path of Pain was able to get hit by Choji and Choji's dad's Taijutsu fist, okay, which they're pretty powerful, remind you, and was able to still move and be fast enough and intercept Kakashi's Raikiri and be durable enough to slow down his Raikiri progression to piercing through and hitting Tendo Pain. And then, next thing you know, you know what I mean, Shinra Tensei gets blasted, and the robot tanks a Shinra Tensei as well, and is still functional, and can still move and shoot a missile. So, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just with that Pain alone. Then you have the other Pain that can literally snatch souls and whatnot and all that, and was able to tank a Sage Mode Taijutsu kick to the face. Like, his head didn't roll off. He didn't get, like, unconscious or anything, yada yada. Like, he gets hit in the face, and yeah, he's blinded now. Like, he can't open his eyes, but he's still fighting. You know what I mean? Like the Pain's got some crazy durability feats. Tendo Pain even tanks Taijutsu Sage Mode attacks from Naruto. So, overall, if we're really being honest over here, Pain has plenty of durability feats. As a matter of fact, he even takes a full-on punch from Six Tails Naruto. While Orochimaru, you know what I mean, and other characters either got critically injured or incinerated. You know what I mean? Like, so, I'm going to tell you people right now, don't cap on Pain's durability. His durability is very fucking impressive. You're talking about a guy that is an Uzumaki and has very powerful life force and chakra and stamina reserves himself and has the Rinnegan. Okay? He's no joke.
And then the one time he threw a Rasen Shuriken, it bisected 5 of them. Like, it, like, one-tapped, like, almost every single path. Like, it was horrifying. Like, the Rasen...
Okay, that's not true. So, when Naruto threw the Rasen Shuriken, one of the passive pains picked up, like, the small child-looking passive pain, the one that uses the summons, and threw her up in the air, and all the other passive pains were able to jump and get out of the way. Now... And the only reason why the path of pain that absorbs souls and whatnot got killed was due to the fact that that apparently, like, the child-looking pain wasn't, I guess, just couldn't jump high enough, you know, whatever the case may be. I don't know. But for some reason, Nagato was like, all right, if I don't get this pain in the air and sacrifice this path of pain, then there would be more problems, or it'd be more problematic. So... that's all that happened. All the other passive pains didn't get hit or anything. So, and that's basically just that. Now, and another thing too, you could also argue that with Pain being fatigued and running low on chakra and stamina and fighting the entire fucking village and beating everybody, then blowing it up and then fighting prep time, full on Mount Miyabuku, okay, Sage Mode Naruto, still wins through that. You know what I mean? Like, all this stuff. So yeah, like, for all we know, maybe, you know what I mean? Like, it's taking a toll on Nagato, and, you know, that path of pain, he just wasn't able to, you know what I mean? Or, like, the summoning path of pain just wasn't able to be powerful enough to move out of the way, or fast enough for some reason. And he was like, well, if I gotta lose a pain, I'd rather it be this one. You know what I mean? Now, in my opinion, you know, I guess it was a smart move, because at the end of the day, he's not trying to kill Naruto. He's also having to hold back as well, which a lot of you probably should know. So yeah, it would make more sense to get rid of the pain that can kill Naruto, because he doesn't want to kill him and take his soul away. You know what I mean? Like, he needs the tail beast alive and all that. Which, actually, now thinking about it, though, no. Because when Kabuto was using Nagato, he was going to extract Naruto's soul and then just take Tail Beast anyways. That wouldn't affect the... Yeah, so no, never mind. That would be... I just remembered that. So, in my opinion, you know, if I had to, like, see why Pain decided to go with that tactical decision, maybe it's because he thought it was more beneficial for infinite amount of summons of the dog, which forces you to utilize more chakra, stamina, etc., compared to a guy that has to initiate contact in order to absorb your soul. I don't know. But either way, he decided to get rid of that one, and that's what happened. Noodles over here is saying that, like, multiple of them got caught in the Rising Shuriken and they all died. I don't know what the fuck he's on right now. Once again, he just makes up shit.
One of them was so...
It was so superior to Pain that, like, Pain was just doing everything in his power to avoid it. His entire battle strategy was avoiding the Rasen Shuriken, which he did well at. But it does not mean that he's, like, relative to the Rasen Shuriken or something, or, like, he's stronger because he got Sage Mode. It's like Sage Mode was the thing that allowed him to react and combat Pain better, and made him faster, and made him more capable of dealing with the multiple abilities of the Paths of Pain. If he didn't have Sage Mode, he wouldn't have been able to succumb to the all 6 of them, you know, like using, like, Shinra Tensei, the absorption abilities. Like, there's just so many things that played into that. Plus, it's just, he's fighting Pain. He doesn't know how strong he is anyway. Of course he would want to be stronger.
That's not true. What's it called? Naruto does, and even some of the villagers as well, do have a grasp on Pain's certain abilities, and they all know he's powerful. No.
Like, supposedly the leader of the Akatsuki, so why wouldn't he want to be strong during this fight? It's just dumb. It's just stupid narrative
Also,
arguments.
is it
It's not stupid narrative arguments. It's literally a power amp. It's literally an amp itself. Sage mode puts you in a whole other class and level of power. Shikamaru's dad even states that. The smartest guy on the goddamn planet. You know what I mean? Not only that, there's even another arc, what's it called, in the anime. It's like another version of tuning exams, and they literally, like, state to Naruto and say, Sage mode is forbidden because it literally is not fair to the other contestants. That it puts him in a whole other league. Like, Sage mode is a big fucking deal. Okages have stated it. Uchiha have stated it. It is stated by Mount, you know what I mean? Like the frog, Pa and Ma, Jiraiya, like Orochimaru, like all these fucking intelligent people. They all even recognize and acknowledge that Sage mode is no joke. Even Itachi. Like, I don't understand why that's such a shit narrative argument or doesn't make any even, like, scaling of sense. Sage mode is a big deal. If Kakasu got Sage mode, you know what I mean? Like, they'll be like, oh, you know, like, and all day for that guy. But God forbid Jiraiya and Naruto has Sage mode. Oh, trash, doesn't do anything, blah, blah, this and that. And yada, it's so fucking stupid. Like, if Kakasu somehow, someway had his own version of Sage mode, he would have fucking shitted on a lot of people. Okay? And most definitely shitted on Naruto, even with Naruto having the Rising Shuriken. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Naruto would need Sage mode to be able to combat against him then at that point. Like, it's so fucking stupid. It's really just stupid. And if they can't understand that, it's a lost cause at that point. You know what I mean? Like, it's like talking to a brick wall. It's not even worth it.
Also, Nate, I know you're in the chat. Do you mind going and looking for that statement where Zetsu talks to, where he talks to Pain and warns him about Naruto?
No one can. That statement doesn't matter. It's stupid.
Be careful. If this hits you, you're probably.
I'm skipping it because they're repeating an argument they already used.
Was what I mean. So it's just, and he can absorb jutsu and shit. So he's hard to keep down and actually touch. And they got the Rinnegan vision, so they can all see and stuff. He's a bad counter matchup for Naruto, just like.
He's a bad matchup for almost anyone around that point. You know what I mean? Like Kakazu, Deidara, you fucking name it. Like, what do? You know what I mean? Like against a guy that can deal with anything at that point. You know what I mean? Unless you like are scaling in power level so high to where he wouldn't even be able to do remotely anything. Like, before he could even blink or sneeze, you know, like, he's dead. You know? And the only people we ever see on that level of power would be, like, you know, Jubito or Jubi Madara or Kaguya or Six Pass Naruto and Sasuke. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Or Eighth Gate guy. You know, like, on those levels of scaling. You know? But at the end of the day, like, and I mean, none of these fucking characters are on those levels of power and caliber. And not only that, if I'm being fucking honest, we can't really quantify a Pain. And that's not in a bad way or a negative thing either. It's actually in a good way, in the opposite. Because most of all the feats that Pain pulls off is while is losing so much stamina and chakra and is, like, fatigued and exhausted. And he's doing all this shit. Imagine him at his max and prime. You know what I mean? Like, fighting against one person or whatever. You know, like, so for all we know, Nagato can be on some crazy-ass scaling levels too. Shit. Look what Edo Nagato did. You know what I mean? Like, so, bottom line is, like, we don't really know Pain's full potential. It's unfortunate, but we don't. And it's, the craziest thing is 9 out of 10 when that happens with characters, that's a bad thing. But for him, it actually works in his favor and is a good thing. Especially if you analyze all the feats Pain has actually done.
Foxy's a bad counter matchup for Pain, but we're not talking about that right now. But yeah, grab that scan, Nate.
Also, do you want to just talk about how we got over 100
10 minutes
people watching the stream right now? This is probably, like, the biggest stream we've had in a while.
I think
like,
we had one
ever.
stream that was bigger.
No one cares.
I have Sasori pretty high on the tier list that I made a couple of months ago. In fact, I believe Sasori is above Sage Jiraiya. You can take this or leave this if you want. Seth already went over some arguments that put Jiraiya above Sasori, which I think are totally valid. The main reason for Sasori is it's stuff that I've talked about before, right? It's like all the third Kazekage stuff, how the third Kazekage is like stronger than Gaara,
stronger than Rasa,
and also stronger than Rasa, who Gaara was relative to, and Gaara's not that far behind the other Kage, I would say, during the war. And Sasori did it without that puppet, which is like his greatest asset. But there are a lot of like Sasori anti-feats out there. Like even though he like let Chio and Sakura kill him, there are times where it does look like he's genuinely trying to kill them, and Sakura is just like
Sakura does dodge him. Like she literally does start reacting to him.
There's blatantly a moment where he is monologuing about wanting to kill one of the characters. So it's like he's not putting on an act unless he is putting up some kind of like Joker level performance where he has to convince himself, or he's like, oh, I should think this.
Chio and Sakura are relative to Sasori. That's just true.
In case one of them can read.
To be fair,
which is
no, hell no, because Sakura, if she wasn't being controlled by Chio's puppet strings and everything, which is also enhancing her agility and mobility and whatnot, while she's also an escape artist, like literally specifically trained to dodge and avoid attacks at all costs. So, no. If Sakura was up with Sasori, she would have died a long fucking time ago. But since she had Chio, okay, that's a whole different ballgame. And it was literally two opponents that were the perfect counters for Sasori. It wasn't even fair. It's kind of the same concept as Guy versus Kasame. A big counter, not even fair. And you got to put into consideration of the mental like effects it was having on him as well while he's having to fight against his own family, which is his grandmother, okay? And she knows everything about him, how to deal with him, his abilities, you name it, you know what I mean? And is also a very, very good puppet user. So it was just a shit matchup for Sasori, unfortunately.
See?
What's up?
I was saying that like Chio had to like control Sakura's movements
at first.
For her. Yeah, at first.
Yeah, but then she later like stops doing that and she starts adapting and reacting.
No. I've read the manga like 3 times, either twice or 3 times. And I've seen the anime multiple times. Never is by herself. And when, as a matter of fact, when Chio loses the strings, then she does get hit. So, reread the fight or rewatch the fucking show, because that is not true at all. At all. As a matter of fact, after this video, I'll even go back and reread it myself. But that I know for an absolute fact that is not what happened.
Herself, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, initial Sakura was way slower than Sasori, so. But yeah.
Absurd to assume,
yeah,
you know, if you think of that, then sure, like he was suppressed the whole time, but like he was straight up monologuing at one point, and Sakura was able to evade his attacks, and we know that Sasuke at the start of Shippuden is way stronger than her, so, and then it takes Curse Mark 2 plus amps for Sasuke to reach.
I'm confused at why he's saying the Sasuke is like way stronger than her, if he's referring to speed or if he's just referring to actual strength. Because the only instance I can think of where you could maybe argue he's faster than her is when he blitzes Naruto. I can't remember if he blitzes Sakura in that same instance. It literally like
he does. He literally moves so fast to where he blitzes Naruto, and then Sakura in the anime, she's like, huh, where is he? And then looks and finally realizes he's there. Same thing with Yamato and Sai. And in the manga, it doesn't. It's kind of the same exact thing.
Episode 1 of Shippuden, or whatever. But
yeah,
Heavy Sasuke also kind of probably stomps Jiraiya. Not gonna cap. He's fast. He's as fast as Deidara. He's not as fast. He's way faster than Deidara. He blitzed him. Deidara just like reacts to him at like one point. But like for the most part, Deidara was not keeping up with Heavy Sasuke. So that means he's as fast or faster than Gaara Sand at that point in the air.
Now, my only response, I'm not going to make this too long either, because this video is already going to be as long as it is. Heavy Sasuke versus Jiraiya, in my opinion, is actually an interesting fight to me. It's something that deserves a video of its own. Better yet, swagkage and Seth actually did a video together on that subject. I think Swag had Sasuke and Seth had Jiraiya. I can't remember. But overall, like, it is an interesting topic. I do think it should at least be provided with some educational value. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a straight up stomp on either or part, though. It would be a good fight, and if I had to pick one, okay, if I had to, I might go with Sasuke, and the only reason why is due to the fact of, you know, CM2, he can immediately activate, while Jiraiya needs time to go into Sage mode. And 2, I would also argue Sasuke is smarter than Jiraiya. And then 3, he can activate Genjutsu whenever he wants, while Jiraiya can only do it with Ma and Pa. You see where I'm kind of getting at? Like, could Jiraiya maybe pull off the W or win it in that fight? Maybe. But at the end of the day, like, I just don't see it, And then not only that, Sasuke can also summon the snake. So if Jiraiya does summon Gumbunto or summoning, he can just summon him, whatever. Like, Sasuke has ways to deal with Jiraiya if it came down to it. You know what I mean? So that's fair, but I don't think it's a straight up, like, stomp, like what Noodles is saying, where, like, he would just immediately fucking kill him. That is blatantly not true at all. And there's so much contrary of evidence to that. So I'll just kind of leave it at that, and that's about that. So, but yeah, so.
He also has the Chidori, so I feel like he would just, like, absolutely murder Blitz Jiraiya.
Hell no. Hell to the fucking no.
And there would just be absolutely zero things he can do about it. So I feel like trying to say, like, oh yeah, Jiraiya's above, Jiraiya's relative to Heavy Sasuke is kind of BS. Like, I don't understand where he's even getting the scaling from.
Sonin level, so, it's kind of like, other than that, I guess Kisame.
You got that too?
Kisame is really hard, because that guy is strong, dude.
So, okay,
Bananas.
first thing.
Talking to my girlfriend, by the way, guys. I don't talk to myself, I promise. I talk to you guys. I'm not just speaking to something randomly, I promise.
Kisame said that the Sonin...
Okay, so we're going to leave it here. I think this is a really good stopping point. Thank you. You got the 0 calories one.
You'll live.
Why? They didn't have, like, the actual flavor? That's stupid. Anyways, so we're going to leave it there because now we're going to be diving into the big boy territory. And that's a whole other thing. And that I want to leave for the final part of the video. So the next video that we're going to do covering this subject or reaction, with Noodles reacting to Swag and all that all together, that's going to be the next video. It's going to be the final one, and that'll be it. This will be a 3-part video series for this reaction. And that's only because it was just so long. It's like a 30-minute video for Swag and Seth, yet it was somehow a 2-hour video for fucking, for Noodles, because Noodles just wants to be stupid and just say a bunch of nonsense. You know what I mean? So he's reacting and pausing a lot, and then obviously I'm going to have to do that a lot, which will make this video a lot more longer, because he's saying dumb shit that I got to debunk or refute or prove that it is actually not true. So overall, we'll end it here. If you guys enjoyed the video so far, make sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, subscribe for more content, subscribe if you guys love the channel, and especially if you're Naruto fans, there will be plenty of Naruto content to come along the way. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know what you think. Peace.